Okay, everyone, I'm going to do a brief introduction of Richie and Paul. So, Richie Bruce previously co-owned a family business of paint stores for 12 years with his father. After his father retired, he spent almost 20 years with a large international distributor, and he worked in the UK building out sales strategy, process, and team. More recently, he was part of the senior leadership team for a local family-owned food ingredient distribution business. While working in this business, he was introduced to EOS, helping with a successful transition of leadership to the third generation of family ownership and achieving a 10-year growth plan in less than 5 years. He has been an EOS professional implementer for almost 2 years, working with clients in various industries, both in the Birmingham area as well as multiple countries globally. Let me really quickly admit a couple people. Okay. And then I'm also going to introduce Paul Barber, who is the CEO and founder of Soul Career Coaching. He previously worked at McGriff, Sybils, and Williams, one of the largest insurance brokers in the US. He left McGriff in 2016 to mentor young business leaders with Richard Simmons at the Center for Executive Leadership. Paul was called back to business in 2017 when EBSCO, a Forbes Top 200 privately held company, asked him to lead their insurance agency, Vallon Group. In 2024, Paul became the Chief Financial Officer of Foundry Ministry, where he continues his passion for leadership and service. He remains dedicated to mentoring young men, focusing on their spiritual, character, and leadership development, helping them thrive in both their personal and professional lives. So they're going to be doing the lesson today, and we're starting our operational management module. So y'all can take it away.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, good morning, everyone. It is great to be with you. And thank you for that introduction so much. I had the privilege of coming alongside of Jeremy Duckworth and Paul a year ago doing this very thing where just had the opportunity to work with influential leaders like yourself and be able to talk through. So what is it that EOS even means? What's that acronym? We live in a world of acronyms, and how might it bring value to you and your particular organization that you lead? One of the things that I think might help Paul and me is to just quickly go around the room. What we want to keep this quick, if we may, is just, and if it's all right with you, I'm going to just look at my screen here. Dr. Pauline Long, I'm going to start with you because you're right beside me on the screen. Just quickly tell us what your organization is that you lead. How many people do you have on your team? And if there's any particular challenge that you're finding in the business. And we'll try to keep this to 60 seconds or so. So kind of a lightning round.
Yeah, good morning. My name is Pauline Long. I am one of the founders of Meds Plus Consulting, and we help patients, caregivers, communities, and businesses improve health outcomes. We have currently 6 people on our team, and one of the things that we are challenged with is, number one, kind of identifying our number one revenue generator and ensuring that we focus on that. And then 2, identifying what talent we need to take us to the next level.
Excellent. That's super helpful. Thank you so very much. So I don't know, Joseph, if it's Joseph Booker or Booker Joseph. I just see your name on the screen there. Would you please introduce yourself? And you might be on mute. You'll probably want to all keep in mind when we call on you, don't forget to unmute. Thanks.
Yes, Booker Joseph, Joseph Insurance Advisors. It's a small full service insurance agency. I manage a very large team. It's a team of 1. So when I shave in the morning, I would have had my staff meeting.
Solopreneur. So what challenges do you have with yourself?
The biggest challenge is finding the time to do all of the administrative work and still continue to market and position the business for success.
A lot of hats. Yes, sir. Okay. Thank you so much for that.
Thanks.
Is it Tricia? Anything
That's
from you?
perfect. Exactly that. It's Atricia Robinson. I'm the owner of Gumbo to Go Food Trucks and Catering. I have a team of 7 right now. We're in the process of opening a brick and mortar. So with that comes the challenge of hiring new people and making sure that all the processes work so that there's not a dip in service between our truck, our catering, and the now new restaurant location. In addition to that, being able to be social media savvy, which is a big thing for food companies right now, is a challenge because I did not grow up in the social media kind of era. So being able to leverage that as a tool is a little bit of a challenge.
Very good. Yeah, all very real things. So, and congratulations, excited for you and the growth that you got ahead.
Thank you.
Lillian, tell us about you a little bit. Lillian's iPhone. So Lillian, we'll come back around. Dana Bivington, are you with us?
Yes, we are a boutique style lash and skin spa, and we believe in a holistic approach to beauty. Been in business for 10 years, but had some challenges, especially around when COVID began. So our biggest challenge right now is brand awareness and scaling our business and the really trying to scale the e-commerce side of things.
Dana, how many people are in the business currently?
At this moment, I have one on the team.
Okay. You plus one?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Great. Thank you for that. Donna.
Actually, I am a part of Kara. So,
Oh, hey, Donna. Great. Well, very good. Thanks for being with us. Ronnie Gatry. Did I pronounce your last name right, Ronnie?
You did. I'm impressed. Good morning. Ronnie Gatry, RLG Productions. I am a videographer specializing in brand promotion for digital.
Unfortunately, the digital world is not behaving for us, Ronnie. You're kind of jumping in and out.
I have so many more challenges, but that's my biggest one.
Okay, I apologize. We weren't able to catch that. So what's your challenge?
Okay, my biggest challenge, forgive me, I'm in transit and I'm in a very rough area. My biggest challenge has to be the administrative work.
Admin, okay, fair enough. And how many people are on your team, Ronnie?
Just me.
Okay. Got a couple of solopreneurs today. That's awesome. That's me as well, by the way, in my current state. All right, Tracy, you're gonna have to pronounce. I'm not even gonna try it. Cheevious? Are you mischievous? Tracy, could you speak up and share a little bit about you? Yeah, we're not hearing from Tracy yet, so I'll come back around. Rowan Poor, am I saying that correctly?
Yes, this is Rowan for How are you all doing?
Hey, wonderful. Thank you for joining. Tell us a little bit about yourself, your business.
So this is Rowan for I own and operate a few gas stations / convenience stores in around town. We typically have 3 to 4 people working at each store. Biggest challenge is, hiring the right person and getting them to do their jobs right. And also trying to see how we can bring back the customer multiple times a week. We have customer coming in, but we want to make sure they keep coming back to us and do not visit competitors.
Repeat clientele. Okay, great. That's very helpful. Okay, so help me, Paul. Did I miss anybody? Because I know there's 1 or 2 maybe that we didn't hear from earlier. If anyone hasn't had an opportunity to speak up, please check back in with Tracy. Are you with us? Okay. Well, let's move ahead and hopefully as we continue over the next 6 weeks, we'll have others that will join us as well. We'll get to know them. But Great to have, I think, a good diverse industry background with us this morning. We've got businesses, different shapes and sizes. But isn't it interesting, as we went around, most of the challenges that we face are very similar. Typically, we find organizations, we're in the people business. And so very often we find issues around making sure that we've got the right people doing the right things in the business. Process, being able to do the things that we're really good at the right and best way every time, all the time. Revenue. I believe, Pauline, it was you that were talking about what is our number one revenue generator, and being able to really lock and load on that. And also avoiding the danger of what we call chasing shiny objects, you know, trying something new and it's kind of a flavor of the month type thing. How do we get really good at focusing in on this is our core competency? And then obviously the administrative side of things. And I'll be the first to tell you, I struggle in that world. This is my happy place. Being here with people like you that have the privilege of influencing and impacting others in this world, hopefully beyond this world, for kingdom impact and those kind of things. Faith is a big part of my life, and I know it is for Paul as well. And I believe that I am a steward of this business. I don't really own my practice. The Lord allows me to get up every day and do what I do. And so it's truly a joy and an honor to be with all of you today. What I would like to do, by the way, I'm going to move some cameras around. And so if at any point you have questions, comments, you can throw tomatoes at me, but it's okay because it'll just hit the TV screen and I'll be all right. But what I would like to do is today is just kind of set the table, if you will, give you a quick overview of what is this EOS, Entrepreneurial Operating System, and what does that model entail. So today is just a high-level overview. And then we will begin next week and over the following, it'll be 5 more weeks after today. That's when we will start unpacking the different components of that model. And we will do it in a method that hopefully helps you to, as we go ahead and begin putting things into practice in your business. What Paul nor I nor Jeremy, for that matter, want to do is to just simply be giving you information that is conceptual and all that kind of thing. Our desire is to equip you with practical tools that when we get off of this call in about 47 minutes or so, you can go put this stuff into practice today. That will start especially next week when we're starting to put foundational tools in place. So before I get going, Paul, have you got anything, or anyone for that matter, anything that you'd like to interject before we get rolling?
Yeah, nope, you've teed it up perfectly, Richie. Thank you.
Very good. Anyone else? All right. So EOS is the Entrepreneurial Operating System. I don't know if Jeremy, ahead of time, let me get over here, hopefully where you can see this book, Traction. Everything that I teach is in this book. Gino Wickman, who is the author, he was in a family business. He's what I call a serial entrepreneur. He not only has he been successful in entrepreneurial leadership and business, he has a desire to help other entrepreneurs succeed. He is a lifelong learner and has surrounded himself and taken significant amount of time in surrounding himself with expertise, others that are really strong and skilled in running an effective business. And so he, many years ago, over 20 years ago, pulled together the tools that make up now what we call the EOS model, the Entrepreneurial Operating System. Gino will be quick to tell you, this is not about Gino. It is about, and it's also, there's no rocket science here. I can tell you firsthand, I'm a rather simple type person. I like to break things down. I'm a visual learner. And so being able to keep things simple and practical, Nothing that Paul or I are going to talk through with you over these next 6 weeks will be from theory. We are not consultants. We are teacher, facilitator, coach, teaching you very practical tools that you can apply in your business to help you solve the issue of revenue generation, having the right people in the right seats, having solid process to run your business the right way every time, all the time. And even what do we do with all the administrative side of things? All the things that you listed, it's here. And so that's what we are about teaching. So today,
Hey, Richie, if
Yes,
I might chime in right there, that's such a good point on what it is. It's a process. I'm guessing with 13 people here, more than half know Coach Nick Saban and his process. For me, it was a discipline. I came into Traction. I discovered it 4 years ago no, it's been 6 years now. I used it 4 years in a distressed business situation. It's a process, but also it's a discipline. I mean, Coach Saban, his applications and the way he ran, one of the greatest programs in the world. And I'm an Auburn guy, but I admire him so much. But it's a process. It's a discipline. Discipline helps you do things every day, day in, day out, week in, week out, month in, month out, regardless of what hits you. Y'all got stuff waiting on you right now. You got emails that are on fire right now. This is a discipline that regardless of what happens day to day, week to week, you come back. You have to put out fires, but you come back. Okay, what was the goal today, this week, this month, this year? It's a great discipline. And when I came into a distressed business, I could come in any morning and there were 20 things that I could work on. And this discipline helps me say, what is most important this morning? And I might have 5 that are most important. What's the hardest thing? Let's do that one first, and then we'll work down the list. So I can't emphasize enough about what Richie is saying. If you will try it and stick with it, you'll find out it works. And Richie just got back from a conference in San Antonio with 8 other people like him. This thing is taking the world by storm. It really, really worked. So,
yeah, making sure you heard Paul correctly. There are about 800 Richie Bruces around the world working with now over 30,000 businesses running on EOS with an implementer like me. And then even beyond that, there are many other organizations, probably very much like you, that like what we're going through in this cohort over the next 6 weeks or so, being able to take these tools and then just apply them yourself. And that's our desire again here, is to be able to equip you to run right where you are. So if it's okay, let me kind of start painting a picture for you. By the way, I'm old school. I still like writing on a whiteboard. So I'm just going to, for the sake of all of us in different businesses, just imagine that ABC company is you. And everything that EOS is about is with you at the center. Our desire is to help you and your team be wildly successful at what it is that you believe the Lord has called you into, and being able to make a difference in this world, no matter the industry. One of the things that I do appreciate about EOS is it applies and has meaning in so many industries. It is typically best served in a for-profit, privately owned environment where leadership is growth-minded, is perhaps frustrated, has tried many different things and feels like I'm just stuck, seems to be appreciative and open and willing to be vulnerable, and is more interested in driving change than they are worried about, okay, oh my gosh, what's going to happen? Are we going to upset the apple cart? You're more interested in leaning in and growing the business. So that's, if that kind of describes you, you're in the right place. What we have also found is that, and even in the exercise that we went through early this morning of having each of you tell us the number one challenge or a major issue that you're having, a lot of different industries, different sizes of business, but we heard a pretty common theme. We all face a lot of the same challenges and obstacles. And likely there are things that wake us up at night and our mind starts spinning, and could be literally hundreds of issues rattling around in our heads. What we have found is that there are 6 key components in a business that, to the degree, the 6 key components that I'm going to list for us, that you can strengthen these 6 key components, you begin to see all of these different issues start falling into one of these 6 categories. And you'll also find that many of what the problems or issues that you believe you have actually are a symptom to a deeper problem or cause that is within these 6 key components. So let's unveil those. What are they? Number 1 is vision. You've heard it said, and it's even scriptural, without vision, the people perish. And so having clarity of where is it, where are we going, and how do we plan to get there? And having everyone on your team aligned and understand this is the vision of our organization. So we start there. Well, if we've got a vision, a next very important component is people. We're all in the people business. And so it is so important for us to, particularly in our organization, who do we need on the bus with us, so to speak? And so being able to cut through terms like rock star, superstars, A players, all that kind of stuff. And what is it that we really mean in terms of having the people on our team that we need? Another very important component is data. I suspect I'm talking to a load of people that have a lot of great ideas running around in your head and are very entrepreneurial. And likely you could be like me, to where many times I would make business decisions on subjective emotion. I've just got a good feeling in my gut about this. And there's nothing wrong with that in and of itself, but a very important piece is having objective, good information, good data to help inform our decisions, so that when we have that, what we believe is a good feel, that we're not actually it's not being disguised by pride or ego. And now we've just basically declared this is where we're going. And then we make a really bad decision business-wise that could have a major people impact, a terrible financial impact, those kinds of things. What does it mean to have good data that informs us to make good, objective business decisions? What happens is, as your organization gets stronger in the vision, people, and data components, that's when we start getting clarity on, you know what, we've got some challenges, we've got some issues. We could even have, on a positive side, we could have some really good opportunities that lie before us. And these things often are just rattling around in our head. It is important that we get that out of our head onto paper and then prioritize what are the actions we need to take to remove those issues or take advantage of the opportunities. We'll unpack that. Another very important component, many of you probably waiting on it, process. We've already talked about this a bit, talked about how all of this really is a process. This is all about discipline and accountability, but we first have got to know what are the core things that we must do very well, the right, best way, every time, all the time, particularly if you're seeking to scale and grow your business. All right, you notice we've got 5 components: vision, people, data. We've got issues, we've got process. There's one final piece, and this is where the magic really happens. And it is after the name of the book, traction. Traction is all about all of this boiling down to where everyone on your team is, everything's clicking well. You hear the term clicking on all cylinders. This is where everyone in your team understands this is my role. This is what I am responsible and accountable for. I have clarity on our vision of where we're going and how we plan to get there. We have a high trust environment. We are people that genuinely like doing life together, and we actually welcome accountability, holding each other accountable, knowing we are marching together as a team to a common goal. This is where the magic happens. So this makes up the EOS model, the Entrepreneurial Operating System. All right, so before I go around and start introducing some tools, does anyone have any questions, comments, thoughts about anything that I've shared so far?
I do. Thanks for that explanation. I've heard of EOS just briefly, kind of out networking and things like that, but this kind of brings things home. When you talk about process, is it, because I kind of wrote down each of them with kind of a brief definition. Is it more like the employees working together to develop efficient processes for the business, or like what does that entail specifically?
That's a great question, Pauline, and we definitely will be unpacking that in great detail in the coming weeks. But to answer the question first is identifying what are the core processes in our business. You kind of think of it in the 80-20 rule, and there's nothing magic about that percentage, but it's thinking about what are the handful of processes that get us most of the way there in operating our business in a smooth, efficient, repeatable way. And then I'll give you the process for the process in terms of, okay, where do these come from? How do we get those documented in a way that is simple and followed by all? Those are some of the things that we will be unpacking more. So I don't know if that answers your question. Yeah, but I love it. You're thinking exactly where you need to be.
Okay, thank you.
Awesome. All right, so what I would like to do now, so we've gone around kind of one pass around the model. So what I do want to do next is I'm going to introduce a couple of tools or disciplines in each of these areas. And then the whole idea here is we want you to come back for more. So today is going to be just a high level. And then next week, we're going to start unpacking these different areas. And again, there's a method to the madness in terms of the sequence that we work through. So let me just go ahead and I will say it again before we wrap up today. Please make every effort to be here each week. We are recording this in the unfortunate event that you're unable to be here, but I hope that you'll each be able to come back for every week. Because and Paul can attest to this, and I can from having been in a business running on EOS. What we're going to teach you is a complete model and process. This is not like going to a cafeteria where I'll have that kind of meat. Oh, I think I'll have that, and I'll have that dessert, and leave a lot of things out. This is a complete package that if anything is missing, it could be a challenge to you in your business. So please keep that in mind. So let me introduce to you a couple of tools. So vision, that is a term that is used a lot in business and organizations and so forth. What do we even mean by vision? Certainly at a high level, we're just talking about here's where we're going and how we plan to get there. But in EOS, what we're going to teach you is actually there are 8 questions that you and your leadership team, or if you're like me and a couple of others here that are just a team of one, is personally having clarity on these 8 things. Go ahead and write this up here, the 8 questions. So you can write these down or it's in your book Traction. What are our core values? What is it that this is what, from a culture and a value standpoint, we want our organization to be known for? What is our core focus? So this is what We have great passion. This is diving into our purpose, cause, passion. And what is it that we do really, really well to be able to deliver on our why? So core values, core focus, and then what's our 10-year or our long-term target? So looking off into the distance, this is where we see the organization going. And from there, so what's our marketing strategy? I love that one of you talked about social media. How do we connect? Who is the ideal client? Where are they? What is the messaging that we should be communicating with these ideal clients? And what is it that makes us unique from anyone else in our industry as to why they would want to do business with us? And here's what the process of doing business with us looks like. And this is our guarantee. This is our commitment to you. You do business with us. This shows you clarity from being what we would call a suspect all the way to a long-term relationship client partner. That's your marketing strategy. Then we start from, again, we started from the long term and we start zooming in a bit. What do we look like just 3 short years from now? That's our 3-year picture. Once we have clarity of where we see ourselves just 3 short years from now, this is when we start bringing it down to 2025. What is our 1-year plan? What are what we call our rocks or our priorities, the things that we must accomplish in the next 90 days to make sure that we achieve that 1-year plan? That makes sure that we achieve our 3-year picture, which is leading us to the 10-year target. So we're beginning with the end in mind and we're working our way back. All right, I did 7 questions so far. Core values, core focus, 10-year target, marketing strategy, your 3-year picture, your 1-year plan, your rocks. 7. Issues. Remember, we talked about this piece. Issues. We all have them in our organizations. So we have to be able to be open, honest, and vulnerable. What are the issues, challenges, obstacles that we have, and being able to take action to make those issues go away forever so that we achieve what is set out. What we do is help you answer these 8 questions together with your leadership team using a tool that we call the Vision Traction Organizer. I will be introducing that to you very soon. This is a very simple tool for you and your leadership team to use in answering those 8 questions. Once you have nailed those down and you feel really, really good about the work that you've done, the next important piece is you need to share this, what we call shared by all, SBA. Could also be the Small Business Administration. But in our case, it's making sure that you share the vision with everyone on your team. That's how they know this is my role to play and this is where we're going. I get to be a part of something that is bigger than just me. I'll pause, take a breath. Any questions or comments regarding the vision of our organization, the tools that we provide in helping you to provide clarity of vision?
Yeah, I wanted to chime in there, Richie. The Vision Traction Organizer. So that's a tool that's solid gold. It's EOS has a lot of tools, but that right there is worth you coming 6 weeks. That's your playbook. And I also want to say for many of you, like, let's take, for example, people. I'm, it's just me. But look, we were all made for community. You can't survive without other people. If it's just you running the business and doing everything, you probably have an accountant. Are there issues with that accountant? Are y'all on the same page? The fellow that's in the insurance business, I'm sure you have a source of leads. Sales and marketing, you mentioned, was a big challenge. If you got a source of leads, is that person, are you and that person aligned? You just, even if you're a solo, you can't survive without other people. So everything Richie is teaching, even the Vision Traction Organizer, you can use that playbook for your life. You have people in your life, you have relationships that are important. And if you're a small business, it's impossible to separate your personal life from your business. So just keep in mind, if you think you're too small to really benefit from this, all the applications work personally. They're intertwined.
I'll just chime into what Paul is saying. My wife and I actually have a VTO for our family. So we know here are the values that we want our family to be known for. And these are the things that we want to pour into with our children and our grandchildren. And even where do we see ourselves 3 years from now? What are the things that my wife and I want to accomplish this year that we believe the Lord's calling us into? So to his point, even if you don't use some of this stuff in your business, try it at home. It really is super, super helpful. All right, so that's giving you just a teaser, if you will, on the vision. Let's move over to people. I don't know if any of you have ever read a book called Good to Great. It was written many years ago by a well-known author and businessman, Jim Collins, where he did some study of businesses that were good and they went to being great in that era. And he did a lot of research in what is the common themes that's not just a charismatic leader or even the industry that they just happened to ride the wave at the right time. But what were the characteristics about those organizations that made them great? And a really big piece was what he calls the right people in the right seats. And he uses the riding on a bus analogy of thinking about you've got all these different seats on a bus. We want to make sure that we have the right people on the bus, and we want to make sure that they are in the right seats. So that's where, from an EOS perspective, we unpack that quite deeply in a practical, simple way. So first, let's talk about right people. Right people are those that live out your core values. So even when you are not there and you know this person is representing you in your organization, you want to know with high confidence that you're going to represent you well because they embody the values of the company. Well, guess what? What was the first question that we needed to answer on the Vision Traction Organizer? What are our core values? So you've got to first know what are our values and then making sure that you are bringing the right people onto the team that live out those values to represent you well. I will introduce a tool to you in the coming weeks, what we call the People Analyzer. How is it that I even am able to recognize and call out when they are living out those values well or areas of opportunity for improvement in living out those values? So that's right people. Right seats is all about doing your job very well. It's having the person in the seat that is doing what the company needs, the organization needs, and it is their God-given abilities, their giftings, their talents, what they have maybe gone to school and are educated, bringing experience to the table. Those sorts of things is being able to do a job and do it very, very well. When we go back to that People Analyzer that I was talking about, there are 3 components of doing a job really well that you must be able to say, yes, they do this. They get it in their mind. They understand the role. They want it. That's in my heart. I wake up. I am committed. I am all in. This is what I want to do when I wake up today to come to work. And capacity. That's, I can do this. Put me in, coach. I'm ready to play. I understand the job. I bring the skills and abilities. I have the adequate amount of time to be able to accomplish this role very, very well. And so that's the get it, the want it, the capacity to do it. Put your hands to the plow. Let's go. So that's what we will do, is talk about and go deeper into how do you make sure you have the right people, and how do you make sure that you have people in the right seats? What is the structure of the organization needed and necessary to be able to achieve our vision? And that's going to be through a tool we call the accountability chart, which we will unpack more. Am I teasing y'all enough? I keep talking about what we're going to be unpacking. Paul or anybody got any questions or comments on the people part?
I
All right.
always hate to ask
Oh.
this question because I feel like it will be discussed later. But when we're looking at the right people in the right position or the right place, you know what? I'll save it because I feel like it's going to be discussed later. Because I want to say, like, how do we identify? What do we?
Yeah.
I'll save it.
Pauline, but let me tell you something. I just love you're highly engaged and hopefully we're beginning to pique interest on these things. So
Absolutely. Yes.
and Donna, thanks for calling out. Yeah, I'm teasing. I apologize, but I'm not. I want you to come back. I want you on board. This is just the appetizer. All right, so we're going to move next to data. I talked about this a moment ago. Probably most all of us, we do have just that kind of sense, if you will, of something when it just feels right and it's just in our gut. We feel good about this. Don't avoid that, but support it with data. This is being able to be very objective in your business decision making. Two tools that we will unpack are scorecard and measurables. The scorecard is much like when you or I go to the doctor and we're getting our annual physical. And the doctor is checking our vital signs. How's my heart rate? What about my overall body weight? What about my blood pressure, my cholesterol, my sugar? Those sorts of things. Those are vital signs that tell me current state right now, how healthy am I? And if there's something that is off track or not where it needs to be, guess what? Now I know where I need to focus to get that metric back on track. So my vital signs show me I'm healthy. Same thing for your organization. What are the vital signs that tell you current state, my organization is healthy and we're able to achieve our vision? That's a scorecard. And it's, again, it's not something to be overcomplicated, but we'll work through what does that look like for you and your organization. Then we bring it down to every team member. Everyone needs to have a number. If you have someone that's on your team, they're on the payroll and they are contributing to our success of achieving our vision, they need to know what their number is. What is it that they need to produce and produce it well so that we know we're healthy and we're gonna achieve our vision. That's data. Questions or comments on this? Nothing sexy about it, but man, it sure is important. I don't ever like to go to the doctor and him tell me, Richie, when are you gonna lose some weight? I know I gotta lose weight, right? So it's do something about it. Here's a number, take action. So when we are getting stronger vision, people, and data, this is where, again, all right, we're recognizing these are the areas that maybe we've got issues or challenges. This is where in the issues area, two tools that are so important. First is the issues list. It's the 8 of the 8 questions. Get it out of your head, you and your team, onto paper so we can see these are the things that we need to work on. And then we go through a process to solve and take action that we call IDS. Even the name of EOS is an acronym. So we love acronyms. IDS is first, we need to identify what is the actual issue that we need to solve. Then with the leadership team, let's have brief discussion to make sure we're aligned on what is it that we need to accomplish. And now let's move into rolling up our sleeves and come up with a solution. Move into that problem-solving mindset so that we can take action, make that issue go away forever, rather than just continuing to talk about it and kind of kicking the can down the road. That's what we're talking about, getting really good at identifying your issues, solving them, making them go away forever. Questions, comments on that? All right, let's move on to process. We talked about this earlier. Pauline was great in asking about this. So what does this even look like? So one of the things that I love about EOS, not only is it practical tools, it's all about simplified action. And so when we talk about process, It's first thing, what are those, again, those handful of processes that get us most of the way there in running this business very, very well? Things like, what is my HR process for identifying, recruiting, hiring, onboarding, reviewing the performance of my team members? What is my marketing process? How do we make sure that we're speaking to the right potential clients and in a winsome way, bringing them to want to do business with us? And then what is about our sales process? This is attracting the right people. This is actually beginning to work with and develop relationship and rapport with clients. What are our 1, 2, or 3 operation processes for delivering the products and services that we deliver on? What is our accounting process? What is our customer service, customer support, customer excellence process? Notice here, there's just about 8 or so that I've listed, just a handful. We want to be able to identify these, and then let's document those in a simplified way. We're not looking to build a 500-page standard operating procedure manual that collects dust on a shelf somewhere. Do this in an entrepreneurial way. Keep it simple in a way that the people that this process applies to, they can follow this. And that's the next piece. Once we have documented in a simplified approach, the next important piece, and we provide you a tool for doing this, is making sure that your processes are followed by all. And how do you make sure that that happens? We'll teach you that. So that's getting really good at process. Pauline, again, another teaser, but is that kind of giving you an idea where we're going? Okay. Very, very good. Well, remember I'm saving the best for last, I guess, because I talked about this is where the magic happens. We worked on all of this first, and we're going to kind of wrap up today looking at traction.
Hey, Richie, one
Yes,
question.
sir.
I just had a thought, and I should know the answer to this, but I thought I'd ask it. On processes, should most of those, you mentioned sales, marketing, operations, should most of those wind up in the scorecard? As far as if you have a process, should all of those key ones be measured in your scorecard?
I love it. And I didn't pay Paul to ask that question. Being able to recognize, first thing, what are our core processes? And we've documented these in a way that we want to make sure that they're followed by all. Absolutely, there should be scorecard metrics tied to these different areas, because this is how we're running our business the right, best way every time, all the time. So not only do you have a scorecard that's at the leadership level, potentially at the department levels, but then it also breaks down to individual metrics. Measurables are much like KPIs. Perhaps you're familiar with that, key performance indicators, that could tie to, okay, salesperson, how many leads do you have in the funnel, or proposals or conversations have you had this week with a potential new client? How many deals have you closed this week? Those are the kinds of things that you need to have hard numbers and a goal tied to that lets you know, yes, we are performing as planned using our processes. Great question, Paul.
Yeah, great answer.
So let's get back to this traction. Gino Wickman talks about this, and I wonder if it relates to any of you here. Vision without traction is hallucination. What Gino's talking about is there are a lot of dreamers. There are a lot of entrepreneurial-minded people that have got a great idea. They've got a vision that never becomes reality. So it's just almost like I'm hallucinating because it never becomes reality. So traction is all about execution. This is about taking this vision and seeing it lived out with everyone in the organization. So this is where accountability, so clarity of expectation and accountability takes place. The first tool is what we call rocks. This was the 7th of the 8 questions. What we're talking about here is what are the must-have highest priorities, the highest and best use of our time, energy, and resources in the next 90 days that are going to help make us help us be on track to achieve our 1-year plan. And so there needs to be clarity of specifically what are those priorities. And then there needs to be accountability over that 90-day period to see that those are on track to being completed. And we do that through our next tool or discipline we call the meeting pulse. This is about, particularly at the leadership level, meeting on a weekly basis in an agenda that I'm going to teach you, teaser, of how do we make sure that our leaders, you follow this agenda and the meeting that we have is productive to make sure we are achieving what we have set out to accomplish. I hope that everything that I walked you through today has lived up to my promise to you. None of this is theoretical. This is not in a consultative type of a way. Everything here is practical tools used in literally thousands of businesses around the world with a proven track record of success. And it doesn't matter the size or the industry of the business. And this is what Paul and I are looking forward to walking you through over the coming weeks to at least whet your appetite and give you some tangible tools to take away so that 6 weeks from now, you're able to look back and, man, my business is already running better. And I'm so thankful. So it's 9:25. We're down just to the last few minutes. So how do we want to close this out? Paul or anyone? Any questions? If I don't want to throw those rotten tomatoes at me. Richie, you've got 3 heads.
I have
Here would be a request that I would have of the group. I'm going to give you a little bit of a homework assignment. First.
Hey, Richie, I think Donna had a question.
Come right in, Donna. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I wanted to know, what if you are in an organization where you have embraced the vision, but you don't feel you have a voice, or how can a leader eliminate having people under them that feel the same way, that they don't feel like they have a voice to speak to you as a leader?
Boy, that's a great question, and that's very real world, isn't it? What we find, Donna, is this is where putting this sort of thing in place has got to start at the top, frankly. So being able to have senior leadership that buys in and understands, first thing, we need to identify what are our core values and so forth, because we need to create a culture that is open, honest, and vulnerable.
Preach it, brother.
So that's where you've got to start. If that doesn't exist and the senior leadership is not in a place to be open to that, and it doesn't align with your values, just in fairness, perhaps that's not the organization to be a part of. I know this is easy for me to say standing in my session room, because I know many of us are emotionally attached to and got deep roots, perhaps even in an organization. But it has to start at the top.
Yeah, on the flip side of that, Richie, so core values, Donna, those core values, that's the way you determine how you hire and also how you fire. So let's flip it. If you're an employee or a potential employee and you're interviewing with someone, one of the first questions you should ask is, one would be, what's your vision? Number 2 would be, what are your core values? Because I need to know, if honesty is a core value of mine and that's not a core value of yours, we're not aligned and it's not going to work. It's not going to end well. So,
and it's interesting too, how often in the interview process of talking through that, let's say I'm looking to even come on to join your organization. And I, as the person being interviewed, ask the leader, so what are the core values of the organization? And if they stumble and fumble around, it probably lets you know there's an opportunity here where maybe they're listed on a wall somewhere, but they aren't necessarily lived out. So making sure that they are truly in the bones of the organization and the people that are in it. So that's a great question. Donna, did we answer your question or kind of give at least kind of speaking into that? There's a lot to unpack there.
You did.
Okay, very good. So with two-minute warning here, let me just real quick, if you don't already have a copy of the book Traction, it's not a major investment, but it is invaluable. I encourage you, have a copy of this book. And between now and next Wednesday, just read the first chapter. Chapter 1 is going to basically reinforce everything that I just spelled out for you, just hitting everything at a high level. But what is really neat, and I want you to do this, at the end of chapter 1 is a 20-question little organizational checkup. This gives you an opportunity to do a quick assessment. Where do we stand in different areas of our business? And I would love for you to come back next week having completed, it won't take you 10 minutes to complete that little organizational checkup. And I want you to be honest with yourself. Then as we begin working and unpacking these different areas, you'll be able to more quickly assess if you don't already know it. You probably got it rattling around in your head. This will just help give it more clarity. Specifically, what are the things that we need to work on to get us on the right track? So please do that for me. You'll benefit more as we go, even from doing that little bit this week.
Okay,
All right.
everyone, thank you so much. I'm going to go ahead and post the quiz. So if y'all could just stay on for a couple more minutes and do that one. Let me make sure I do the right one. Okay, and just let me know if you're not seeing it.
Thanks, everybody. See y'all next week.
See you next
Thank you
week,
so
Pauline.
much.
Hi, Dr. Pauline.
All right, I answered the questions. I hope I got them right. Might have to.
I did too. Those are great, by the way.
I love it. Yes, that is awesome. That's a nice enhancement this time around.
Somebody's done their homework.
I love it.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks, everyone. Have a wonderful week. Looking forward to next week.
Thank you, Richie. Great job.
Thank you. You too. Thanks all. See you next week.
Thanks, everyone. Have a great week.
See you next week, Jeannie.
Thank you. Bye-bye.